So hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is the continuation of the previous video. And in the previous video I was showing you a very simple illustration I was doing to show you what I think should put as a temporary page for my website, for Coding Sections website. So this might be my waiting page temporarily, and of course this part here is not going to be included. So I want to use the coding smaller and in a white color, almost white color, with this kind of gold and a dark background. And so now we're going to prepare the HTML and the CSS to get this result. But I'm still going to test a couple of different combinations, so different dark colors, different gold colors. So let's see how it goes. So it's probably in the third video I'm going to show you how is my process of preparing or making these combinations until I decide which one I like the most. So this is let's say this is not a definitive combination, even the font family I'm not sure yet, but let's start coding. I'm going to show you I've tried a different background color that might be the one I'm going to use. I'm not going to change this here in the Illustrator because, well, I think it's much easier doing it on code. Anyways, let's start doing it. So as you can see here, I already started preparing a very basic HTML structure, even put a title and also the font family. So for the moment, Lato is going to be my choice for font family. And as I told you, I was taking a look on some different colors from here. I like this dark color, for example. This golden color is nice. So I'm going to try to combine. I already have the code for a different color from the one I was using in Illustrator. But this might be, I'm going to talk more about this in the next video, in the video number 3, that probably I will make to show you exactly my process. What I am sharing here with you, and I'm very happy about that, is the entire process. You are basically watching the conception process that I use. So for this website, for this web page, I'm going to start with a section. It's going to be the main section for the moment. I could call it banner. Let's call it banner. Main banner, right? And then I'm going to use the display flex technique to center the bold texts. So I'm going to use a div here, which is my text box. And inside it, I'm going to use the coding as an H2. Might change it later for another tag, but that's not so important. Coding. And then the H1 will be sections. For this part here, as if you notice, I use these symbols, the angle brackets, right? But there is actually I have even a space here between the text and the brackets. Need to fix this. I think this is a double space. But anyways, if I try to use, for example, angle brackets, then sections, like this, the HTML code will consider this as a tag, right? So I cannot actually use it. I need to find a way. Well, if I use spaces, this is fine. So HTML will consider this as a character, not as an actual tag, right? So this could be a solution. But there is a problem if I use this approach. The problem is that if I want to use a different font size, for example, let's say I want the brackets to be smaller or in a different color, or for some reason if they are not aligned where I want to move them up or down. So what I think is the best solution for this case is to use a span. So here in the first span, I'm going to use the open angle brackets. If I do not include the space here or even here, so it's like this angle is together with the word sections, right? and if I use it another span here for the closing one, so this is gonna give me, I think there is a mistake, span, symbol, closing span, yeah. So if I put it there, another span, so I can code, I can be more specific, I can specify the span inside the h1. So I guess this is the best solution. Of course, I'm going to make these sections to be uppercase. Ideally, I use the CSS to make uppercase, but exceptionally in this case, I'm gonna do the uppercase in here because I'm not sure if I want the characters in uppercase. Not even sure if this makes a big difference in terms of sizing or visual, but this is something we can see with once the code is done. I'm gonna let everything together for the moment. If I want to create a space, if I want to force one space, I can do it using the space here. So let's go to the CSS. The HTML is basically that. So for the CSS, I'm just gonna use the CSS here. Of course, I know this is not the ideal. I should use the CSS in a separate file, but since this is a super simple page, I'm gonna use the CSS here together, right? So I always like to start my CSS code with this very simple reset, which is margin 0, padding 0, and the box size in border box. So this is my typical simple reset that I use on every code of mine. Then let's say in the body, I'm not wanting to apply any general thing for the body. Actually, I could make the body to use the font family. Like this is a general selection, and then the code for Lato, it's here. Well, my computer is a bit slow today, so the font family is like that. Oops, fix that. And that's it. I don't have a general color, so I'm not going to apply color for the body. And then let's go to the main banner. So for main banner, which is a section. By the way, this selection is not mandatory. Okay, I just like to do this because it helps me to visualize what this element is. So I like to do that way, just to help myself afterwards when I make changes on my code. It's easier to understand this is a section. So for the section, I'm going to apply the background color. And as I told you, I'm not going to use the exact same background color I put here, because I've been testing a couple of different colors, and I found one which is actually kind of super dark blue, and the code is 040A17. This section is gonna be I'm gonna give a height. It's not working. Height. Yeah, the height is gonna be 100 VH. A display flex. Justify content center. Align items. Center. Might be enough. So this way I'm centering this div, and the div contains the h2 and the h1. This most simple way. Well, this is not. If I wanted to avoid using this extra div, that would be possible. Just using, for example, the flex direction to be a column. But I'm not sure if this is working for every. If the column flex direction is working for every browser. So I'm just want to make sure to make it work in most of browser. Anyways, I'm going to check this later. But for the moment, this is going to be my code. Then text box. Just going to put a text align center. This is going to be capital letters, all capital letters, at least for the moment. So I'm going to use a text transform uppercase, because I want both coding and sections to be uppercase. Oh, but as I said, well, I'm not sure about the span, but if I want to make changes on the span later, I just do it more. I just change the specificity. So text box, text align center, text transform uppercase. This might be enough. And finally, then the text box h2, which is the coding name. I am going to use the color almost white, which is E5, E5, E5. And you wanna try a font weight, I guess 800, which is bold, and some letter spacing. This is something I wanna use. I think it's gonna look cool. And 8 pixels for the moment. Then I'm gonna check later if I want to put more or less of letter spacing. Not sure about the margin buttons to separate H2 and H1. I'm gonna check that also once we open the result on the browser. Then font size. The font size is also something I'm not sure yet, which I'm gonna check on the browser. Font size. But I might use VW as my unit, because I want it to be responsive in a super simple way. I just want to launch this website as soon as possible, and then this is why I'm not being so, let's say, careful. Well, I don't know if this is the word, but let's go. So the font size for now will be, I'm gonna try maybe 7 VW. Not sure if this is a good size, but let's see. Let's check later. And then my text box H1, which actually I just need to call it H1 because we don't have another H1 on page, will be the name sections, which I also selected a color, which will be FCA311. The font family is the same, but I don't need to apply font family because this is for the body entirely. Then the font weight, about the font size actually first, and then my font size, I'm gonna use 14 VW. Let's see how it looks. And the, what else? Font weight. I want it to be either thin or light, but I think the thin is not gonna look good in most of the monitors. I don't know. So for the moment, I'm just gonna apply the 200. And what else? Well, I think that's all. Let's see the result for the moment. Then if I want to check other changes, I'm gonna check this later. So, well, if I have uppercase, I don't need to do it uppercase in here. So I'm just gonna simplify it. All right, even here. So let's check the result of this. I have the HTML in here. And that's my result so far. So here, name coding is definitely too big for my taste. So I'm going to check, and just as you can see, when I resize the window, because I'm using the font family with I put VH, but actually it's VW. This should be sorry. This is the code for the banner. If I want to check the code for the H2, I have to select here, and 7 VW, but that's too much. So the thing is, I don't need to change this in the code and look here and change on the code and look here again. It's much easier and better. Well, even in this case, I'm gonna use the inspector here in the bottom of the page. So I can literally experiment this using the inspector, and it's gonna be much easier to just define what I think good, and then I change in the code only once. So for example, I put 7 VW, I put 6, 5, 4, 3. I think 3 VW is a good amount, even 2. But I think the 2 is good. I'm not going to do this responsive, like I'm not going to establish breakpoints. Or media queries. I'll just simplify as much as possible, at least for now, until I define the rest of the content. So I'm gonna keep it, let's say 2 VW. I am happy with the result here, but I'm not sure if I like this size for my angle brackets, for example, and even the position. I think if I have a little bit more of space between them, it will be nicer. I don't know, I'm gonna make them smaller. So I can, for example, select my span. I don't have any selection here predefined. I'm going to do that. So at the same time, I'm going to do the 2 VW. I am happy with the size of the section name. And this is going to be cool no matter the size of the window. Okay. And of course, I'm going to make the responsive later, because coding, when we go to a very small let's say a very small screen, the coding is too small. So I'm gonna make it probably desktop first. And yeah, let's check this here. So I have to change this, not 7, I'll let 3 be done. Good. And as I was saying, the H1 is span. I'm not sure about the sizing, and also I might prefer with space. So actually gonna put the space in here. So about the span, probably my font size will be a little bit smaller than this 14 VW. So which gives me the 12 maybe. So let's see how it looks like right now with the changes. Oh, the coding is still too bigger. I definitely prefer these angle brackets a little bit more to the right and to the left. I'm going to experiment later different, as I told you. This is probably going to be on the next video number 3. I'm going to experiment a different font family and even the colors as well. So I think the 3 is too big, so maybe 2.5. Yeah, I like this. Just making trying to experiment this. If I put 8 VW, for example, viewport width, now it's too small. Maybe if I keep this size, but I make them to be a bit moved, a bit more to the top, I can use the transform for this, but I'm not sure yet. Let's see. If I don't change the size, what is going to happen? The same size. Well, I think I'm going to keep this for the moment like that, using the same font size, just to make it more simple, and put this online right now. So I would like to say thank you for watching this video. I hope you like. Please subscribe, and yeah, on the next video I'm gonna make some changes, and let me know your opinion in the comments. So you can put, if you like this, well, you can make always my suggestions, right, in terms of colors, style. So I'm literally right now doing the conception of this project. You're watching from zero, and I hope you like it. So see you next time. Bye bye.